Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where this is a bit of an unplanned one. So I need to be in Germany tomorrow and the plan, until yesterday at least, was to fly there. But flying at the moment is an absolute chaos. Whether you're in the UK, around Europe, I'm pretty sure the same goes for anywhere in the world right now. There are so many people trying to travel, there are lots of shortages, everything is delayed, and I figured if it was going to be 3, 4, 5 hours delayed and have potential luggage issues and who knows what else, well, we might as well drive, right? Driving is always significantly more fun. So we were here at the Shmuseum having a little look around thinking, which car has never done a road trip? And perhaps which car has never been to this meandering piece of tarmac somewhere in the Eiffel Mountains? And, well, we fell on the DBS. Since buying the Aston Martin DBS, with all of the paint that we've been restoring, to be honest, I haven't actually driven it all that much. Only up to this point, about 175 miles. So I figured, why not depart on a 1,200 mile, nearly 2,000 kilometer road trip with the DBS, especially given it's just come back from Topaz after the paint at Godliman's, now at Topaz having PPF, paint protection film, over the lovely midnight blue paintwork. So that's the plan for today. A very spontaneous drive down to the Eurotunnel across to France. We're actually going to be slogging all the way down through France, down to about Strasbourg, and then only the last maybe 10 miles in Germany, but about 530 miles. We'll see if we can find some interesting checkpoints along the way, but basically my first proper drive in the DBS, and it's a road trip, which is exactly how we like to do it. So come along for the journey. Let's see how it's going to go in the new Aston Martin. There are other cars here in the collection that up to this point haven't yet been for a road trip. I'm not sure if I would want to chance it in the E500 estate. It is a little bit older. The Cupra is our team car that stays here in the UK. Obviously the SF90 had an amazing trip just a month or two ago and it will potentially be abroad again very soon. I would love to take the Vantage Roadster on a rerun of the original adventures in the Shmee-mobile, for those of you who remember that. More than a decade ago, when I drove it over to Paris, went to visit Alex Smolik, we went down to Monaco in the south of France, amazing times. We've taken the GTR Roadster, we've taken the C63. The Heritage RS has actually never been to the Ring, and the two Clios, but neither of them are in a state to go anywhere at the moment. All of the others have been. And before you wonder, as you might have just spotted, there's something lurking under a cover over there. That's going to be on the Shmuseum channel very soon, so stay tuned for that. So pretty much with the cars that are absent at the moment and things in all sorts of different places, oh, and the electric Mini is definitely not up for a road trip, well, it fell on the DBS, the perfect car for the occasion. We've got some luggage space back here, 2 suitcases, slightly awkward boot or trunk space because you can't put 2 cases next to each other, standard carry-on airplane size. You have to squeeze them like this. You can get some extra bags around the side, but it's a Grand Tourer. It's a dynamic, sporty Grand Tourer. I have the auto as opposed to the manual, which will certainly be very comfortable for many hours on the road. You wouldn't be very comfortable if you were squeezed into the back of it. Well, it is technically, well, I think they call it a 2+2. The amount of space behind the seats is negligible, to say the least, but it's a very, very comfortable cabin, really nice looking thing. We don't have any Bluetooth audio, unfortunately. That's definitely something I could have prepared for a little bit more in advance. But like I say, until yesterday, this wasn't the plan. So let's get the car started, let's get out on the road, and let's make our way towards the first stop at the Eurotunnel. The good news is that it is a beautiful day today, perfect for a long journey. It should be pretty similar weather the whole way through our drive. As I said, it's about 530 miles or so, 850 kilometers. The Google Maps time is about 10 hours. 10 hours in effectively one long slog. But this is a nice way to be doing it, and this is why I was so keen to get the DBS on the road for this journey, watching out for the trucks. Had experience of trucks on the M25 before, and we don't want a repeat of that. But basically, it's a car that was designed for this purpose. The DBS, remember when it launched back in 2008, I want to say, was the slightly more dynamic version of the DB9, which is Aston Martin's Grand Tourer. It's exactly for this. And I was saying about the seats behind me, and you can see now that the space is fairly minuscule. You'd have to be rather tiny to sit back there. And to be honest, there are a few things about the car that are just totally weird and make no sense at all, but we do have cruise control, even if it's very old school, the way it's mounted here on the steering wheel. And we've got an hour and 20 or so down towards the Eurotunnel, hoping the traffic today is going to be smooth and on side. And I do have a plan for somewhere I'd like to stop in France, but I'm not sure if you can stop there anymore, or if Speedy Gonzales, or if they've changed the rules that mean that you can't. But I suppose we're kind of going to find out when we get there. So for the time being, it's just taking it easy, really. It's just down towards the Eurotunnel. I've made my Flexi Plus booking as usual, so we've got some freedom. I haven't been on the continent for actually about 2 months now, since we came back with the SF90, the STO, and the GTC 4 Lusso after the trip to Denmark with them, where we had stopped obviously at the Nurburgring on the way back home. But this car I haven't taken on a run, and it's a rite of passage for every Shmumobile, as I always talk about. We have to do a Euro trip, we have to go to Germany, and we have to go to the Eiffel Mountains at some point in time. So that is exactly what we're going to do to surround this trip that I'm heading on already anyway, because it's just much more fun. And if you think about that journey door to door, 10 hours or so, versus flying, as soon as you've gone to the airport, and we're actually going to somewhere about 2 hours from the airport at the other end, as soon as you have gone to the airport, had some delays, flown, picked up a rental car, driven a couple of hours at the other end, it's actually about the same amount of time anyway. And I much prefer having my own car there. It's always infinitely more fun. So I've planned everything like the French télépeage tag, so we can drive straight through, and all the documents and stuff that you need to have these days to make our way uneventfully, I hope. Although I suppose if it's eventful, that makes the video more exciting. We'll see how it goes. But to cross over under the tunnel to France and onwards for a long old drive down the French autoroutes. We are arriving. The signs for the Channel Tunnel. This is the exit. It's been a fairly standard drive, except for one really mad bit of traffic, which meant we had to leave the motorway and find a way around, and that was all chaotic, as you can probably imagine. But what I'm super intrigued to find out is how busy is it going to be here? How busy is it going to be at the check-in and the passport control of the Eurotunnel? Because, as I mentioned earlier, the airports right now are unbelievably delayed, overwhelmed, just super, super, super busy. And I'm hoping that this is going to be our fairly smooth, plain sailing way to go about this journey. I can tell you in this car, by the way, you just stick it on cruise and let it waft along, and it's super chill. It's very, very, very docile when you're just driving like this. And that's one of the things I think gets a little bit confused with the DBS. It's easy to think that this is like an AMG GT, you know, quite a like dynamic car, but it's not. Even though it's the more dynamic version, it is still very much just chill mode, fully engaged, and yeah, cruising on. So this bit's not busy. Let's hope it stays like this as we make our way all the way through and get towards check-in in a moment or two. It's been a very quick stop because we want to get the next train, just to grab some snacks here at the Flexi Plus Lounge. Let's get this rocking and rolling to make our way straight out of here. I actually parked next to the motorcycle parking. I was thinking, oh, there'll be nobody who can park right alongside us, but that didn't work so well. Make our way through this way in the tall vehicle sections, as always, because who wants to risk the wheels in a car like this? But it is a rather magnificent day, perfect for a long old drive. It does make it so much more pleasant when the skies are blue as opposed to wet and miserable and grim. But we go this way. I actually think they've changed some things around here a little bit. Normally spending time at the other end, we go straight through to the, I was going to say to the large vehicle queue. Yes, that's okay. Go up here and join this one. Hi, vehicles. Crazy thing though is how much more expensive this has got in recent times, because pre-pandemic, the Eurotunnel return, the way I was doing it, Flexi Plus, would be about £288. This crossing was £504, so it's up a good 75-80%, which is mad, but then so is everything these days, hey? Especially fuel, but still, I think flying's up even more. So travelling is changing fast. We do have a green light, or don't we have a green light? I think we did have a green light, but the front vehicle wasn't here, which meant that we've now missed the opportunity to be one of the first to board, which is slightly frustrating. Can't change that. Anyways, at least we will get on the train very shortly and our journey will commence. It's busy here, but at least it's organised busy, kind of everything's happening on time as it should, even though every train is going to be packed. And yes, we have hot ceramic brakes and a very noisy train alongside us. Sorry for that, but at least we're going to be boarding, and then it's going to be a long old journey on the other side. Kind of anxious about setting the nav to see exactly how long it will be, but I think about 7.5, maybe even 8 hours in effectively one long hit. We'll see how it is. And there's a train arriving. We've got Victor Hugo and Charles Dickens on the side of it, and all the graphics, and lots of other names as well. Isaac Newton. That's quite fun. It is time to board. On the train we go. Usual procedure. Line all the cars up in here. And then we have a 35-minute crossing under the English Channel until we arrive in Calais on the French side. We are off-boarding already. That was actually very quickly done. As if by magic, we are now exiting the train onto the other side, into France, where we touch down on French tarmac. We've exited the train. We are now in France, which means quite a few hours ahead of us. I can't for the life of me work out how to pop this car into kilometers per hour. It did it through the nav system, which I was doing while we were on the train, but it hasn't done the dashboard. So I don't know if that's a totally separate setting somewhere. Anyway, I've got Waze running, and everybody always asks about Waze, but it's by far the best for a long journey like this, just knowing what the traffic is doing, etc. And that is going to be in kilometers, so all will be well. Anyway, it's a cruise from here, so we'll get comfortably onto the autoroutes in the right direction, and then take it from there. I think 100 things just happened at once. We don't need this anymore, so I can remove that from the window. That's our ticket for the Eurotunnel, and we're cruising on the autoroute, which will probably be a very smooth, very open journey. Always lots of UK cars when you've just come off. Of course, everybody coming over, although I think we saw more European cars on the UK side than normal on this journey. What is different though is typically in 2 kilometers I would be going straight across towards Germany or the Nurburgring, well obviously in Germany, or anywhere in that direction, whereas this time we're going to be heading significantly more south in the direction towards the Alps and Switzerland, more in that direction, which is interesting because it will take us very close to the circuit of Reims-Gueux, or Reims-Gueux, I think they say in French, which is somewhere that's actually changed the rules around it recently, and I don't think you're allowed to stop there for photos anymore. I think obviously you can drive past because it's on a public road, but we probably can't pull in. We'll have to see exactly what it looks like when we're there and what the rules are around that now, because it's always such a magnificent place to go, the legendary old Formula 1 track that makes part of a normal French road. Now, we do have the air conditioning blasting for obvious reasons, because I want to get the temperature down in here, but basically we'll just take it as it comes and try and make some good progress. This actually only says 5 hours and 25 minutes, which is vastly less than I thought originally. It's only 5.5 hours. We are doing very, very, very well for ourselves. So let's join the correct autoroute here, which is the A26. We'll scan our bipper thing and get onto the long leg heading south. This is where, in theory, I'm going to be very smug with this thingy-bob, which I basically get to use to blip straight through, except I think that they actually don't have any specific dedicated lanes at this first one for the télépeage. I think you have to join the general queue, but at many of them, especially down in the south of France in summertime, you get to skip straight through. There'll be a lane just for télépeage. We need to follow the truck. Oh, it is a dedicated lane. I'm just behind the truck. You win some, you lose some. Anyway, in theory, this just goes up here, wait for the beep. There we go. Green light, and we can go straight through. Nice and easy, and it all charges my credit card back at home. Big time recommend one of these if you're ever doing a road trip around Europe. These for France, you can get them for Italy, you can get them for other countries as well, and they make life so much easier. Jump ahead a fair bit, and we are now arriving in the magnificent French countryside at the historic circuit up ahead of us. Now, a little bit more reading, and basically the rules here have now changed to try and deter car clubs who are causing a little bit too much commotion here. So we can drive by, and I think maybe if you're on your own you could pull up, but effectively there's now a rule which means you can't stop in front of the grandstands, which after many years of coming here with so many different Shmuseums, way back on the Ringwing Ting, came on the Black Series tour, I've stopped with so many different cars along the way, they kind of want to reduce the trouble that people are causing, and that's completely fair. Anyway, we will just drive through, taking it gently, taking it easily. It's such a cool place to be. With the grandstand up on the left, you have the pit boxes on the right as you go by, restored and very nice. Oh, they've actually got the car park area at the back, so you can park at the car park at the back, you just can't stop like out here. Anyway, it's super cool as a place to just drive through and visit and see, because there's so much history here. These roads were a Grand Prix circuit. The roads we're driving on right now were full-on race territory, which is, yeah, quite special. You can actually arrange as groups. I found a link to that if you want to get in touch and come here as a group of cars. You can set it up, but basically to do that officially rather than just turning up and causing chaos. I think that's what they're keen to avoid, but it's always a cool place to be. We'll just turn around and go straight back the other way to continue on with our journey this way. Let's make sure we get the right corner. And yeah, not getting in anybody's way. And I've completely given up trying to put this car into kilometers. I have no idea. I don't remember from my old Vantage if there was a way to do it, an easy way to do it. So it kind of is what it is. Anyway, what an amazing place. What an amazing thing that this still exists. That it's just like this, just in the middle of nowhere. Just, yeah, available and only a few minutes from the motorway. Wow, cool, really cool every time. Anyway, let us continue with this voyage. Our next stop is probably not going to be until we're crossing the border into Germany, or we might need some fuel before then. I'm actually going to see it. It'll be quite interesting to see how efficient this car is. Oh look, 28,888 miles on the dash. That's a nice number. If you like nerdy, accurate numbers, that kind of thing's always fun. So onwards. Yeah, let's make some progress. A few hours further on, we're only 1 hour and 120 kilometers now from our destination. I think we'll cross the border about 10 kilometers before that. It continues to be a very, very pleasant drive. But obviously this is by far the most time I have spent in the DBS. I mean, we have now driven to 29,045 miles. So I think that means today we're 300 or 400 miles in. Already, actually, obviously, because we're going 530 miles, we've got 80 to go, we're 450 miles in, so I have spent 3 times as many miles in the car today as I have in this car in total before today. So some thoughts about it, and one of the things is, like this, we're sitting at 130 kilometers an hour, which is the speed limit here on the French auto routes. It is a Grand Tourer. It is so gentle, chilled, calm, easy, comfortable, soft, torquey if you need it to be. Obviously we're in drive, we're in automatic, we don't have the sport suspension or the sport gearbox mode selected. It just wafts along. Now I tend to be a person that likes a car that's a bit more dynamic than this. For example, the Ferrari V12s, they're a little bit twitchy, they're a little bit lively, and that gives you a bit more excitement from them. And this engine is obviously a very lazy V12, it's a very big V12, 6 or 5.9 litres of naturally aspirated glory. And it's a car that very much suits this. Now, one topic of discussion is, should I have got one with a manual, which would cost in the UK at the moment about £25,000–30,000 more. They do, of course, hold the value by, they cost more, but they're also still worth more in the current market. Obviously, at the time, I suspect they were probably cheaper to buy a manual than an auto. But the manual for me wouldn't suit this kind of drive. You want a manual in a sporty car, in a car that's for taking for a blast down twisty roads, which is not what this car is for. The DBS is for just chilling in, just totally chilling in. In modern terms, this is not like, you know, if you take, I'm trying to think, there's no specific Aston equivalent right now, but let's say with Ferrari, this isn't like, the DBS isn't like the 812 Competizione to the 812. This is softer than the 812. This is a soft car. So I'm sitting here thinking, I'd like it to be a little bit more poignant. I'd like it to be a little bit more responsive. I'd like it to be a little bit more lively. Obviously, we've still got the 80 miles to go, and then we've got 600 or 700 miles probably coming back again on the extended route we're going to do to go via one of my favourite places to drive. But it's quite interesting to spend so much time at the wheel of it and get to know it a little bit more, because obviously this is, as I said, basically the first drive. This is the first time I've spent significant time in this car, full stop. So really learning what it's all about. Actually, I did drive my friend Freddie Tavarish's manual DBS about 1,000 miles. So I've spent more time in his than I have in mine, still, even having owned it for 3 months. I'm very pleased that everything's working. That's always one of the delights with a slightly older car. There's nothing that's falling apart, trims or notable issues. There's a small squeak from the window, from the driver's window when it goes up and down, which is a little bit annoying, but all of that kind of stuff is fixable and pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. So overall, this has been quite suited to the occasion and a very smooth journey, really. We've just got to keep on crunching on this last hour until we, shortly before that, cross the border into Germany. I believe that crossing this bridge is going to be the entry into Germany. I might be slightly wrong, but we're certainly about to be going over some kind of river here. And yes, is that the sign up there? Is that the sign, or certainly nearly the sign? Wow, the view up here is actually really cool with the mountains in front of us. The water alongside, and yeah, there we go, Deutschland. So we're now in Germany. This car enters its third country. I don't think we've got any new Autobahn today though. That's going to have to wait, so stay tuned for the fun and games, some kind of factory and manufacturing immediately as soon as we come over. I was going to say stay tuned for the fun and games of the Autobahn, because I suspect that might be the antics of tomorrow. We shall have to wait and see. Anyway, it's actually quite a nice, it's a beautiful evening this. So we enter Deutschland and now we enter the Bundesrepublik Deutschland. I don't really know which is the actual border crossing, but anyway, all's well that ends well, and we have our last 12 kilometres to where we're stopping for tonight. We've made it, the end of a long drive, but to be honest, pretty quick considering how that journey can be. We left the Shmuseum a little over 9 hours ago, about 9.25 hours to drive 530 miles all the way from England to where we are now parked up in Germany on a truly spectacular evening. Beautiful weather, it has to be said, and it's good to be back. Of course, today has been a gentle, long slog, to be honest. There will be some more fun and games while we are here, of course. A trip up the Autobahn towards the Nurburgring, probably tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But here in time to get the things done that we have come out for and to enjoy a first Eurotour adventure with the car. And to be honest, in this light, the paint looks almost black. And as you know from the channel, I like bright colours. I don't often normally go for something quite as dark as this, but midnight blue suits the car so well. The DBS is a stunning looking thing, and for a drive like today, it's such a calm, effortless Grand Tourer. It has so much torque. When you get back on the throttle, still in 6th gear, it's a 6-speed automatic gearbox. It just pulls away, goes with the flow, cruises along, and it's been a lovely car to drive for such a long slog, to be completely honest. Feel very calm and ready to grab a bite to eat before, yeah, going to chill out for the evening. So, DBS on the road. Thank you for joining for the adventure. Stay tuned for what's still to come with it, but glad to have stretched the legs and to have driven over 500 miles or so today across from England through France here to Germany. That's it for now though. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys. I really appreciate your support. Stay tuned for plenty more with the DBS on the way back towards home. That's it for now. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.